We are back, folks. We're talking about Sofi today. Now, when you talk about volatility, you talk about Sofi, okay? This was down 7%, 7.77% in the normal trading session, and then after the earnings report here, it skyrocketed over 12% in the after-hours trading. And you just look year-to-date on this stock, up 67%, but the up and downs, they've been extreme. We've seen a 52-week high of $28, now sitting around $23, but we've seen 52-week lows of $10. So this has been up and down and up and down. It's been pretty crazy how this one's been trading as of late. So even over the last month, you can see where things have just gone a little bit crazy here. I mean, this stock trade's crazy, but let's look at this. Obviously, we're going to look at the earnings and see why it shot up. My presumption would be a beat as well as a guidance raise, because that's about the only way to get up in this market at this rate. But let's just take a look. GAAP EPS line of -5 beats by 9 cents, much better than expected for sure. Not quite profitability, but again, the company's still somewhat in its infancy. Revenue line at $272 million, up 35.5% year over year. It is a beat by $16 million as well, so they beat on both aspects, top line, bottom line. You love to see it. You love to see it in that aspect, so I think that could be a fantastic reason why. But there's got to be another reason for it. Let's just be clear with each other. We know that stocks don't go up until they beat on all three aspects in this market. That's just what it's par for the course at this point, and it's a tough par. We're talking about a club parring at 70 when you're talking at a total yardage right around 7,000 yards on the course. So it's a very impossible par. I mean, it's hard to do. Record GAAP adjusted revenue coming in at they posted record GAAP and adjusted revenue and the fifth consecutive quarter of positive adjusted EBITDA. But again, it's adjusted, so keep that in consideration. Total year-over-year member growth came in at 96% to 2.9 million. Obviously, a number they continue to want to grow there. They added 377,000 new members, which is the second highest quarterly increase in company history. So it's all positive so far. You see why this stock's up. Total products up 108%, which is the fifth consecutive quarter of year-over-year triple-digit growth. Fantastic. Sofi Money, Invest, and Credit Card drove 79% of new member growth and 73% of cross-buy. So again, the financial aspects here doing great work for this company. We will look at the press release and see what they've got to say about this one. We love looking at press releases, and they got a fancy one. Look, Sofi is a technology company. They're really a tech company, and they've got fancy stuff for us, except for they don't know how to put the apostrophes within the actual text document. So that one is an issue, unfortunately. The PDF is a little jacked here. Whoever edited this one, you might want to rethink your career. Whoever's in charge of the investor relations page, probably the CFO, I presume. Look, I'm on the market. If you're interested in a CFO, I'll step in for you, Sofi. Don't mind if I do. Again, record numbers as we saw, but we want to look at some of the finer details now. That's what we love to do. So total net revenues, again, 35% growth, really nice. And net loss actually declined 30%. So you see pretty good growth year over year in terms of that line. Still relatively high when you're talking about $30 million in net loss on a $270 million revenue line. I'd like to see more in terms of the profitability standpoint, but some of these financials, again, especially at a tech company, it takes a little bit to develop the high margin aspects of the business, and it's one that could continue to grow. Again, it's good year-over-year growth, and you're talking about 2 years out, this should be a profitable company, and if they could do it sooner, it'd be even better for them. So we'll see what that looks like. Adjusted EBITDA did decline 69%. There's a reason why it declined 69%. There's no other way to decline it. So I'm curious what that reason why on the adjusted aspect is for. Would like to see that number a little bit more clearly. I'd love to. That's how it goes. So positive for the fifth quarter, which we're talking about, but I want to know what the reason was for the decline. Obviously, member growth, fantastic, and products in general here. that line continues to grow at an exponential rate as well. This is a prime chart to look at. 5 consecutive growth quarters. It's pretty nice for him. So lending products and financial services. Obviously, financial services being invest, and lending being lending, as you might presume. You see how that continues to grow on every aspect. The lending aspect growing, as well as the financial services growing as well. Obviously, I think this is a company that's pretty well known. Obviously, it's a financial institution, but mostly I think they've been really pushing the invest aspect of it lately in terms of marketing campaigns and ad spends. They've really been focusing on the invest aspect of it, which I think is just to really create an ecosystem of user growth. They want to create that ecosystem that they can transform into taking care of people for every other service. I mean, you want to get them in for one service and potentially hook them into your company and get them to, use multiple services. And I think that's kind of what they're going for here with this increased ad spend, which I'm sure will show in the costs and the expenses coming up. We'll take a look at that line. Obviously, platform accounts, you love to see that number growing if you're them, or a shareholder. You got to see that number growing. You really do. So, you got to see it. So Sofi unaided brand awareness more than doubled to a new high during the Money Moves campaign launch. Again, that's kind of the main thing. It's all about really building an ecosystem. And again, they mentioned here SoFi Stadium getting biggest moment in fall sports. You mean football? I think they mean football. Biggest moments in fall sports. Just call it football. Look, I get it. It's football. The Chargers and the Rams play in SoFi Stadium. I understand. You don't need to be nonsensical here. That's pretty cool. But again, I think that's driving 500 million impressions supposedly from them just by users. What does that mean for them necessarily? I don't know. And just having their name on a stadium isn't necessarily the cream of the crop. It's guaranteeing you money, but that's fine. You see great numbers from them. From a lending segment, interesting stuff here. As far as servicing rights, you see a massive decline here, 100%. The variance is quite astounding. Curious what that number, what the reasoning for that is. Obviously, we'll look at that. For sure we'll look at that. And a decline in the residential interest classified as debt as well by around 50% too. And the directly attributable expenses increased 30% too. So, I mean, not really necessarily what I might like to see in terms of some of these numbers here. I mean, maybe that's just me. As far as home loans, we saw a 26% increase. These are the great numbers we like to see. Personal loans up 166, and a 6% decline in student loans. Not necessarily as big of a concern in my aspect. We talk about the bigger picture. They grew total loans here by 49%. And again, I think student loans could be a great aspect for them because being such a really known as a big tech company, I think that'll help. Kids know tech companies, they do. But on the parent aspect, I mean, they're going to be the ones helping them go through student loans, in my opinion. Most kids aren't really doing it by themselves, so keep that in mind. Overall loans in general increased 15%, and dollars obviously increased 49%, as you see. So it's good to see. Platform accounts up 80. It's good stuff. So there's really good stuff in that aspect. Financial services, money up 178, which is really nice for them. Invest up 197. Credit card, which is obviously new. There's not really fair to have comparison, but it is a variance of 65 million, which is quite incredible. Or 65,000, I should say. Relay up 136. At work up 229. Overall products increased 179%. So The financial services are getting out there, and they're really developing that. So big stuff for them. I think they should have a balance sheet located on here. Financial tables. We love seeing financial tables. Now, trust me, I know you do too, because I really do. So let's look at the balance sheet here. Total assets here on this company right now sitting at $8 billion. That compares to 9 months ago of $8.5 billion. Slight decrease in the cash position. Nothing too crazy on that aspect. But there is a decrease over the last 9 months. Total liabilities, on the other hand, saw a pretty big decrease, 3.5 compared to 5.5. So that's fantastic for a shareholder standpoint. Equity line here coming in at $4.2 billion, which is nice. Well, what kind of equity line is that? Compared to a loss here, or really a deficit of 120 million. So again, good numbers here from that aspect. Let's look at the valuation of this stock. After a 12% jump, you have to consider that this is a company that's going to be trading at a market cap right around $18 billion, a little bit higher than $18 billion. Obviously, no PE ratio on this company, not a shocker. So you consider an $18 billion market cap on a company on a full year standpoint that's going to be putting up a line right around $1 billion. Should be a little bit over $1 billion this year. So in that aspect, it's not trading at an incredibly high valuation for a pretty high growth business model. Right around 18 times price to sales. Is not incredibly expensive for a hyper growth company, but again, you have to consider in this market it comes with a lot of volatility. So if you're interested in investing in Sofi, just understand that I would have placed a call option on this bad boy too. I definitely would have expected it to go up after earnings, so I'm proud that it did. I am. I didn't have the cojones to do it and put the money towards it, but I'm not really shocked here at all with this aspect. But if you're going to invest in Sofi, just understand there's going to be a lot of volatility in the next couple of years, even more volatile than the general market. So hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time.